Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in today. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi coming to you from Los Angeles, California to talk about U.S. immigration law in a Q&A format for educational purposes, not intended for case-specific advice. For that, you should consult with an attorney first and foremost. Thanks again for joining. We do this every Monday through Thursday, every day at 5 p.m. Pacific. It's live on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, and on Tuesdays we're on Instagram, JQK Law Firm's Instagram page. And the recording of this is on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and click that bell so you get the latest updates. We have tons of clips of information coming every day, along with other long format information, not only these live videos, but also kind of different kinds of videos that can really help you in the immigration process if you're getting started, if you're in the midst of it, or if you're, even finished or thinking about doing something in the future, or a family member or friend. The information is key, it's here, and we're doing this daily, so it's a cutting edge information that's out there. So with that, let's get it started. All right, as everyone's trickling in and the questions about to come, I want to thank you all for joining again, especially our crew on Instagram. I appreciate it. Good to see you all here. There's so many things happening in the immigration world that I kind of lose track, and when I come to talk about them, I kind of forget. Yudi asked, give me your suit. This is one of my favorites, is mine. But with regards to immigration, we're in a mad dash right now because the public charge rule had an injunction. This is for people filing for green cards. The public charge rule affects everybody, but in particular people who are having green cards, but also people who are changing status, extending status. All those kind of people are affected by this stuff, and we've had to deal with that. And so we're trying to submit these as quick as possible while we're undergoing this stuff. I just said that, and I remember the case I have to think about in a little bit. But it's a wild situation that we're in because of it. They also shut it down at the embassy. So if you're going to do Department of State processing, those are on hold too for the Affidavit of Support, the Declaration of Self-Sufficiency, the consular processing version, but because the embassies are essentially closed, a lot of cases can't take advantage of that, but some embassies are open, some cases are being handled. So we have a question from Tamaka. Hi sir, can I apply my work permit last month, 4 months, how long do I wait? I am applied. Okay, so you applied 4 months ago, how long do you wait? You wait whenever they get a chance to approve it, they'll approve it. The timetable questions are up to USCIS. Guru says, courts still closed or open. Some courts are closed, some courts are open. Most are closed, at least in the short term, except for not detained cases. But check with the EOIR website, EOIR. Check with them. Don't ask me about timelines or if things are closed or open. Just go to the source and ask them. One says, I received an I-797. That's good. That's like some sort of notice from U.S. immigration. It doesn't give me any information that's helpful for me to be able to advise you. Es mi cumpleaños. That's good for you. Well, we got some more questions popping up. We have Abdul Shah says, for I-130 spouse case, when does the 2-year green card start? When married or when case starts? When married. The timeline it depends on what you're saying. If you're going to be subject to a conditional green card, that is based on the date of marriage compared to when the green card is issued. But when you're calculating how long it takes to submit the I-751, that is dependent upon when your green card is issued. So let's say I'm married January 1st and I get my green card December 1st, within 12 months, let's say, that green card is going to be conditional, a 2-year green card. But once I get that green card, a year and 9 months to 2 years after that, or really 90 days before 2 years, I could submit a Form I-751 removal of conditions, and that's where that would come in. Okay, let's see, I think we got another question here somewhere. Shaw says, when they open interviews, well, they've already opened up interviews. Many field offices are seeing interviews. Biometrics appointments are open. This is one thing I wanted to mention. So USCIS has restarted their ASC appointments. These are places to do your biometrics, which is your fingerprints and your photo. And that's needed for a lot of type of cases nowadays. And my clients are starting to get these appointment notices. And one thing that's a little different than how it was before is that when you get the appointment notice, there's going to be an additional piece of paper there that asks your hair color, eye color, height, all those kind of biometric information. In the past, this form was at the center, the location where you actually do the fingerprints. You fill it out there, or they'll help you fill it out there. But now, to avoid additional interaction between the person that's working there and yourself when you're doing the fingerprints, they're asking you to come with it completed already. So it's a little bit of nuanced change, but biometric appointment notices are coming. I just had one for a marriage green card case I had submitted in, let's say, 3 months ago or so. We just got the biometrics for that. So that was wonderful because they could get their journey started, get it, further started, and they really need a trial permission, just advanced parole. So really needed to do these biometrics and stuff to get the work permit, advanced parole reviewed. Although many of my colleagues have said they had cases for employment authorization, advanced parole approved without the biometrics. So I'm not really sure what kind of system they have, but the good news is biometrics are happening, so you could get that part of your life in case up and running. On Instagram, Garcia says, I am adjusting status, received letter from USCIS wanting joint sponsor. My spouse is U.S. soldier, so the poverty guideline is standard, right? If your spouse is a U.S. soldier, I'm not sure exactly how that works. I think if your spouse was going to be the sponsor, then the poverty guidelines is 100% instead of 125% or 50%. I really need to review your case exactly. Your spouse should be making enough as a soldier to cover the poverty guidelines. So that'd be kind of disappointing to the country if your spouse doesn't make that much to cover it. But I know because I've had soldier clients, they don't pay them a lot, even Marines and stuff like that. But it should be able to cover it. So I don't know. I got to see what's going on in your case and why that is. Definitely schedule a consultation with my office or another office to review why they're saying that. Sometimes they make a mistake as well. Okay, let's go back to TikTok. We have a question at PBS. How can I immigrate to another country until Trump is out of office? Well, we got to get an immigration lawyer for that other country and talk with them. Neela says, my SIL applied for her parents, my sister-in-law, I'm guessing you're saying, applied for her parents' green card and got RFE for I-864A. They need a letter explaining. Well, I'm going to explain to the viewers what that means, but I need to see your case. So if you're filing for a green card based on family-based petition, you have to submit an I-864 Affidavit of Support. And this says you have the U.S. person going to support the foreign person. But sometimes the U.S. person or the person filing the Affidavit of Support, sometimes the joint sponsor, doesn't fully make enough themselves, or they're using their household income. Maybe they're married and they're including their spouse's income in that support money. Well, if that spouse's income is being used or that other dependent spouse, dependent person's income is being used, you have to file an I-864A. Now, this is confusing, and I've had errors with USCIS making the mistake that this is needed when it's not needed. Sometimes we submit it just to make it easy, but sometimes we don't want to because that other spouse doesn't want to be on the hook and sign this contract either. So I can't really answer your question until I see what you submitted to the government, who's making the income, looking at the W-2 forms or 1099s and the income information of the sponsor, the primary sponsor, to see how much they made compared to the family member that's being requested to file an I-864A. But again, I've had USCIS and the Department of State and National Visa Center make mistakes on this in the past. That's why it's really important I see it and then formulate a proper answer to it. So the best thing to do is consult with immigration in private to see what's going on. If you would like to schedule a consultation with my office, my email is info@jqqlaw.com. There would be a fee for this, but email me and let me know what's going on. We'll take it from there. Jignish on Instagram asks, is there any way to track trends on EB1C processing forecasting? I mean, you go to uscis.gov and see how it is, but not really. There's no good information. I've really tried over the years of communicating with other immigration attorneys to keep each other updated on how the processing times are working on cases. But they're so busy that for them to go on this one sheet I created to input that information, it's just not happening. I've tried it over and over again, but no real good source. There's some independent sources that do it. If you're working with one of the huge law firms that do a lot of volume, they have their own internal stuff, so that's helpful. But nothing I could tell you right off the bat that I trust or know is good information. You just have to be patient, unfortunately. Alduisha says, is the public charge rule on pause right now and we don't have to file the papers for the public charge? Well, that's correct. The public charge rule itself, the general rule is not on pause. It's a rule that's been around for a long time. But what is on pause is the format of it that President Trump put into place on February 24th, which requires additional forms and paperwork and questions on the forms. That is on hold if you're filing as of, I don't know, July 29th or something like that. Any new petitioner applications, it's on hold. But we'll see how fast that goes. So I submitted one this morning. Hopefully it'll get there tomorrow. I got to track it. So we got it in. I got to do 2 or 3 more this week. So we take advantage of this opportunity before it gets too late. All right. So the credit score guru says, how can I bring my divorced son? We are green card parents. How long does it take to bring him? Well, you have to apply for him. If he's single, he can't, he has to stay single. And check the visa bulletin. Just type in visa bulletin, go to the State Department's website, the link that comes up, and see based on the country of birth of your son and the type of category it is. The category is F2B, adult child of a U.S. green card holder. And you can see what cases are currently the years and month and years of when people submitted their cases that are similar to yours that are getting green cards right now. Now that timeline is not stable. Sometimes it jumps forward a year, sometimes it jumps back a year. It's all over the place. But that'll give you some idea of what cases are being processed right now. You check the visa bulletin and you check the final action date chart for your category, which is F2B, adult child of a green card holder, and look at which country. If it's, essentially for China, India, Philippines, Vietnam, or Mexico, or Ecuador, Salvador, or something like that. There's a couple of ones that are backed up more. If you're not one of those, you're in the general category. But when you look at the chart, you'll easily see what's going on, what I'm talking about. Madigan says, sorry sir, I just got in now. Did you say anything about USCIS going to start printing EADs? Well, interesting, I'm glad you brought that up. There was a lawsuit, I think, in Ohio, and a judge said USCIS has to get its act together. They can't just approve cases and not issue the EAD. That's unnecessary delay. We'll see what actually happens, but that was really good news. It's ridiculous. And for those that don't know, USCIS, canceled the contract with the factory that was printing their work permits and their green cards and said we're going to start doing this stuff in-house ourselves. But then they said we ran out of money, so we can't print these. So many people, not all, but many people are not getting the work permits or green cards, even though they're approved, because USCIS doesn't have the systems and the money set up to do it, and a judge ordered them to do it. Hopefully that goes through, because this is just ridiculous. I mean, there's so many ridiculous things happening in immigration. This was just far-fetched that they can't print the approvals, print the actual documents after a case is getting approved. Hopefully we'll get some good news on that. Thanks for bringing it up, Maddie. Sammy says, I applied for my green card 4 months ago, but there's no update yet. Yeah, it takes a while. Just be patient. Anna says, me and my wife live to different states due to our jobs. Will there be an issue during adjustment of status interview? Well, it depends on how strict the officer wants to be, but you have to be prepared for that and prepared to answer why it is that you're living separately. So that's something you should definitely consult with a lawyer, do some practice interviews, look at the documents that you have. There's a lot we have to analyze, because that is a red flag. If you're not living together, that's going to give heightened scrutiny. But I've had cases be approved where we explain, one spouse might have been on an H-1B visa where they're locked into one city and working, and typically the other spouse was either going to school in another city or had some jobs. So in one case, I had a guy who was H-1B in Los Angeles. The wife got into some medical school in another, or medical residency. And when you get a medical residency, you've got to go. That's all you have to do. So she was in New York, he was in LA, and it was serious. I have another one where the guy was on OPT, which is a student visa, and he was teaching at a university in the East Coast, and the spouse in LA was here. And we said he's going to move here, but he has to wait for the semester to end because he's teaching. It's a prestigious job to have. You can't just give it up. And they were totally fine with it. You just have to have a good explanation, something reasonable. And so if you have two different jobs, then you can explain it and how you're coping with it. If you're flying back and forth to see each other, having the tickets is good to show that you're invested in the relationship. Maybe call records. Normally they don't even go into this far, but you got to be safe and document as much as possible when you have these relationships when you're living separately, because you never know how strict some officers are going to be. So you really have to have the documentation to show and the ability to explain yourself as to why this is a legitimate relationship, it's a legitimate reason that you're separated, and here's the additional proof of that relationship. All right, let's see. Nave says, my wife got the email that she is short on funds to sponsor, but she has enough liquid money. Well, she wouldn't get an email. You get that notice in the mail, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But, having cash itself, it depends on how much cash you've had and how long you've had it. So this goes into an I-864 Affidavit of Support asset-based analysis. And I usually don't like doing it based on assets because, one, a lot of USCIS officers are not familiar with it and they'll RFU or deny you. And second of all, even with the assets, they can still deny you. They want to see people working, having a regular job. So in your case, I need to see what kind of assets your spouse has, how long they've had them on average, what the family size is, and do an analysis there. So I'd have to review your case and analyze your case during consultation to see what my thoughts are there. I wouldn't be able to help you with that here, but hopefully that information give you some guidance on what's being looked at. Nelby says, would it affect my case? Yeah, if your wife's not making enough money, they're going to deny your case, so it's going to definitely affect your case. Abdul Shah says, does the USCIS update the processing times every month? I don't look at processing times on USCIS anymore because they're so unreliable. From what I remember, they update every month of 45 days or so. Sometimes do, sometimes they don't. But that's why when people ask me what are timelines, there are no timelines. So I don't even bother looking at the processing times unless I have to. So unless it's taking too long and to file a complaint, you have to look at the chart first. Most of my cases don't go that long that we need to do something like that. So I don't even look at the charts and keep track of that. It's not an unreliable thing. It's not a reliable thing. Spinach says, how long it takes to get a green card in New York, Queens? It varies depending on the kind of case you have and your luck. The credit screw says, thanks. Muhammad says, can I apply for a green card for my parents, and how much does it cost to file an application? Well, if you're a U.S. citizen, yes, you can file for your parents. You can start the process, which is filing Form I-130. The current filing fee is $535 per person. They're going to be probably increasing that. I can't remember how much it's going to be in a month or two. But that's just the first part. Now, whether your parents can apply for a green card, you can file for them. But applying for a green card is a separate thing, separate fees, and it depends on their backgrounds, where they are. And so I would need to know a lot more information so I could answer that question. Adia says, hi, can a green card holder apply for his or her parents, or should they wait until getting citizens? This goes to the previous question. Yes, they have to be citizens. A green card holder cannot file for their parents. You have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to file for your parent. Dharma says, non-USA marriage to USA citizen, getting green card is for 2 years. Is it true? It doesn't matter that you're a non-USA marriage or USA marriage, if the marriage happens US or not. If the marriage happens within 2 years of the issuance of the green card, then yes, it's going to be a conditional 2-year green card, and that's that. Karif says, can I still apply for a visa U even if it happened 6 years ago? You know, I don't handle U visas. I don't know what the time restraints on it are, so I'm not a good resource for that. But I'm sure if you go to USCIS.gov and look up the U visas, they have the basic criteria that's needed. A police report is one of them, so that's really important too. 8B Farian says, my sister just turned 21 and my mom wants to apply for a green card. What's her first step? First step is you go talk to a lawyer in private. That's the first step because we have to see what's going on with your mom's background and your sister's background, finances, all this kind of stuff. So first step is consult with a few different immigration attorneys. I'm not sure if this video is up and running yet, but if you go to youtube.com and then check out the JQK Law Firm page, I create this video. It should be up today or tomorrow. It's the 8 steps on choosing an immigration attorney, step by step, how to choose an immigration attorney, what you need to do. And so this is such an important thing for your life, your family's life. You need to consult with professionals in private and see which one whose decisions you respect. Because potentially in these kind of situations, from what I've seen, is the mother probably entered the United States. I'm not saying it's your case, but enter without permission. And if they enter like that, they might need what's called a waiver, and you can't get a waiver from a child. However, there may be options that are exceptions to that, so we need to know. We just need to know a lot more information about your case to see if it's even possible. That's why the first step is to consult with a professional, or professionals, plural, in private. You're welcome. And then AZ says, in March it'll be 5 years I've been a green card holder. What is the best time to apply for nationalization? Well, it's naturalization. Best time to apply whenever you want to apply. You know, sooner the better. They're going to be increasing the fee, almost doubling it. So you want to consult the immigration. The best time is when you're eligible and when you want to. So first you have to want to, and if you do, then you have to see if you're eligible. And so I don't, just having been a green card holder for 5 years, just one of the eligibility requirements. There's a lot more. So I'll need to talk with you about your personal background, things like how long you've traveled, any criminal history, any arrests, what groups or associations you've been a member of, how you got your green card originally. Was that properly obtained, or was that made an error? Or is this something you didn't tell them that you were supposed to tell them? That happens frequently. So there's just a lot of things I need to know about your background before I can answer that question. Let's see, Neela, thank you for joining. Britannia says, if someone joins the Army, is it easy for their spouse to get a green card? In some aspects, it could become easier. It's just not easy, but some things will be easier. It'll lower the threshold requirement for income based on the Affidavit of Support. If the foreign spouse entered the U.S. without permission, they could potentially get what's called parole in place, or PIP, and that'll help them avoid having to do a waiver or do consular processing. So there's certain things that become better, but it's really case specific. We have to see what's going on in your case. So that's that. Rope says, how long is it taking to renew employment authorization? Thank you. You're welcome. It takes however long USCIS takes. EAZ says, in March it'll be 5 years. Well, I answered that question already. Gotcha says, if I get OPT, can I work in other states if I get a job offer? OPT is what you get after you graduate on an F1 student visa, you could get 1 year of time to work in the United States to get experience. You can work wherever you want to as long as the work is related to what you're studying and your school's DSO, the International Office, Designated School Official, approves it. So yes, you could work in another state. Go talk with your Designated School Official because you have to update your I-20, the CVIS record, and you have to update your Part 2 and also update your addresses. That's very important that people miss. But yeah, you could do that kind of stuff and work in another state. That's not necessarily an issue. It's more about what kind of job it is the employer real, and all that kind of stuff, and doing the proper paperwork for it. Alex says, do you have any study tips when studying difficult concepts? Yes, write them out. So draw photos. I like to write it out, draw images. Like in law, I had a professor in property law. The property law is a very complex area. Of the basics of it is a very hard law school subject. And about ownership interests and who is a second deed owner. There's a lot of stuff I don't want to get into here. But one thing we like in those, you would always draw it out. He would tell us, like, do a circle who owned it first, who owned the second, who has a second lease on something, who has a second thing on that, a mortgage or whatever. And so really putting on paper, drawing out the concepts from your mind onto paper, it helps make it kind of two-dimensional, more easier to analyze. So that might be something that can be helpful. AZ says, in March, it will be 5 years I've been granted. Oh yeah, stop asking the same question. Abdul Shah says, I called USCIS twice and asked them for an expedite, and they denied me even though I had a good humanitarian reason. Well, yeah, they have discretion to deny, unfortunately. Let's see. AZ says, in March it'll be, damn, I'm going to block you. If I say a question one more time. Chris Crew says, is there any way I can bring my fiance in expressway from Nepal? I'm a citizen. You are great. Well, thank you so much. No, I mean, no expressway. You got to do the fiance visa or get married and bring him. You know, that's as much as I could say. You got to go by the book and do a fiance visa. That's a little bit of a faster way. I don't like doing fiance visas, but if you need to do that, and then you got to do it. Other than that, just go and visit them, you know. AZ, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Well, it's good questions today. We got a good flow of questions. Almost 5:30. We got time for a couple more questions. But you know, thanks again. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning. There's this my ebook that I wrote for people doing marriage and fiance visa cases. I call it the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. It's the best one out there. Definitely download. It's the first step when you're going to start one of these cases to see how the system works. And I've been saying go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. But today I plugged in. I realized I have to fix this somehow. I don't know how. But you have to type in www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. I don't know. This internet stuff's confusing me. We got to deal with stuff with the domains and the DNS or this, that, and do this. But for those who would click in it, just be mindful if you go to an error page, just add that www at the beginning of it and download that ebook. I think it's a great guide to what's going on. Saran says, any good news about USCIS marriage-based interview? My interview is canceled. Yes, people are getting, not only are they getting biometrics, but they're getting interviews in various states. It's slowed down, it's slower, it takes a while. But around the country, people are starting to get their marriage green card interviews. Now, whether that's happening in your local field office, or whether that's happening in your case anytime soon, I don't know. But generally, things are starting to thaw. But we'll see how that works. You know, if there's another second or third wave that's really hard with the coronavirus, they may shut those down too. So we don't know. It's really a public health situation. We had a question on Instagram. Musi asked, hi, I had my interview today. Thank God, but they didn't give me an answer. They said, let's mail you. Is that a problem? Not necessarily. Nowadays, they less and less approve you on the spot. There could be a lot of different reasons for that. I can't tell whether there's a problem for you because I don't know your case or whether it's just normal. But it's not necessarily that's just a problem. It could just be you'll get the approval notice tomorrow morning maybe or something like that. That happens too. But that's that. Miss says, is it easy to fill out the application for citizenship? Filling out the application is easy. Now whether you do it right, that's hard. So people fill it all the time and make mistakes all the time. I don't know what to tell you, but it's a personal decision if you want to do yourself. But my job as immigration attorney, the least important part of it is filling out the forms, which is what people mistakenly think what an immigration lawyer does. The forms is the least amount of work and the least important. Really analyzing the law and see how you fit within that form to catch issues that could pop up and to prepare you for what's going to be happening is the key job that we do. And that's why we have to dig in deep into your family life, into your personal life, and how you got a green card, all this other stuff, to see what could potentially come up that was unexpected. Because I've seen people go to the interview and all of a sudden new information comes out from their past and they're denied. And it's something they should have known, and sometimes they get sent to removal proceedings, deportation. Now these are rare. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to give false sense of fear. Most cases will be approved. But I just, you know, if people have problems, they call me. And so I see a disproportionate number of catastrophic results if people go it alone. That's why I'm too scared to say, yeah, go do it yourself. But it's not to say that you can't do it yourself, and most people don't file citizenship on their own without approvals. I just seen some disaster stories where it's like, if you got the money, just hire a lawyer. If money's an issue, I understand, it's not a big deal, but if you got it, why not? ID says, senior citizen getting state benefits, medical condition, no English, 5 years, green card, can apply for citizenship. I don't know, that's too case specific, I can't answer that. The credit score guru says, did I miss your answer? I did not hear. I answered everything, credit score guru. Just ask your question again. I'm not sure what your question was. About fiance visa. What about fiance visa? I got another question about a person that asked about Nepal or something like that. I said, no, there's no way to expedite if that was your question. You're welcome, Miss Be Yourself. Asma says, are they back to printing green cards still? No, I talked about this earlier. They're supposed to restart, but we'll see. Definitely catch the video of this on JQK Law Firm's YouTube page. It'll be out in a day or two. That's a great resource to get these recordings. Ali Sheikh says, petitioner is threatening us that if you don't obey me, I'll cancel your green card you occupy now. You need to consult an attorney. If there's abuse happening, maybe you could do some other stuff, but I need to see you know, what's going on with your case before I can answer that. Sonny says, hi, in your caseloads, are they doing I-75 interviews or bypassing in California? My cases, I've never had a case require an interview. It's because we documented well, so it's never been required. So that's not a good way to go about analyzing. It's not based on my caseload. It's about cases. And, you know, we documented well. I work with my clients. And I sometimes have to fight with my clients to give me documents. I have one right now I have to file. I was hoping I filed it 2 months ago, but they're just not giving me documents. But that's rare. Usually we start ahead of time, especially if I got the original green card from the first place. I work with them throughout the 2 years until the time the removal condition happens. So it's really, we're just well documented. And so I just don't have that issue with interviews, but it does happen sometimes, you know, even if you have a great case. When will immigration be open? Immigration is open. The credit says, how long did it take to bring a fiance for US and Nepal? I don't know, each case is different, especially with code. I mean, I don't have timeline answers. Mailut says, I've been divorced in the past. My wife had an interview in March, but I have not heard back. What can I do? I don't know. I have to see what's going on in your case. I don't know, I can't answer that. When, okay, that's probably be one of the last questions. Shark asked, a regular, I was senior while Shakrola. Where we apply for tourist visa, does that make effect for issues while we are green card holder? Okay, I think you're asking, how do you apply for tourist visa? Where do you apply? And will affect things if you're when you have a green card case, affect issues while we are green card holder. I don't understand your question, because if you're a green card holder, you're not going to ask for a tourist visa. I think you're under a mistaken assumption that you're applying for someone else's tourist visa, which is not the case. Each person files for their own tourist visa and they come here. You're not applying for anything for them. Ali Shay says, can a petitioner cancel a green card if other than fraud? We have property and tax returns 3 years, no bad. If you already have a green card, no, it's not up to them to cancel it. But before it's issued, you get divorced, so they can sabotage things, yes. But once you got the green card, then it's on you to keep it and be able to document it. So that's that. I'm sorry that you have to go through something like that. So I'll probably take one more question if it pops up, but just as a reminder, for everyone who's joined, we'll be back here again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow is going to be a YouTube day on Wednesdays, and going to be on TikTok as usual. Immigration Lawyer John, JQK Law's YouTube page. You can check it out there. Definitely subscribe and catch the videos of this here. And we'll go last question. The credit score says thank you. Shokala says, I mean traveling to outside USA, sir. I don't know. So your question isn't clear. I don't know what to tell you, but thank you so much for everyone who joined. Chef asked, are green cards being issued right now? We just answered that question too a second time, but generally, yeah, they're being issued. Some people are not being issued because they ran out of money to print them, but a federal court is saying you have to print these green cards, and so that's the general story. If you're affected by that or not, it's just your luck. We'll have to see what happens, but green cards are generally being issued right now. Thank you so much, everyone who's coming in today. Thank you. It was a pleasure taking your questions. We had a good flow of questions. I enjoyed it myself, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow here on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, on YouTube, JQK Law Firm, and Instagram people. We'll be back on Instagram on Thursday, but tomorrow you catch us on YouTube, JQK Law Firm. Thanks again. Everyone be safe. God bless. Bye-bye.